trusted news source, ABC6 News at Noon.
And a good afternoon to you folks. Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Casey Cantz. Doreen is off. Our top story today at noon, a neighbor and a friend, residents living on Hazel Street in Providence, remembering an elderly woman who died in a house fire there early this morning. The grief even bringing a state rep to tears. ABC6 News reporter Yanni Tregellis is on Hazel Street for us this afternoon to share the emotions of those who knew this woman and those who tried to save her. Yanni, a real tough afternoon there. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, Casey, a really sad day here on Hazel Street in Providence after an elderly woman has died after a house fire broke out here on the street. Now, I want to step out and let you take a look at some of the visible damage left behind. You can see some smoke damage left above the door, as well as some boarded up windows right here. I spoke with some neighbors living in the area who say that, you know, when this fire first broke out, they actually tried to rush into that home to save her, but they just weren't able to.
As soon as we kicked the door down, the smoke and the flames were just right there. It was like right at the front. I tried to step in a little bit. I could barely get in. The smoke was just too heavy.
Heartbroken residents on Hazel Street mourning the loss of their neighbor in a tragic house fire Friday morning, including Kevin Kennedy, who along with 3 others sprung into action to try to save the woman inside the burning home, but weren't able to withstand the heavy heat and fire conditions.
One thing I could think about was like, how can I get her out? That was it. I mean, that was the only thing, but I couldn't. It was too much, man. Like in my head, I'm like, she can't breathe. If I can't get in the door, she can't breathe through that. Like,
according to Providence Assistant Deputy Fire Chief Steve Capricotta, the fire first started in the middle of the home, which is where rescue crews found the elderly woman upon entering the burning house. She was then rushed to Rhode Island Hospital, where she died of her injuries.
I'm broken. I'm totally heartbroken.
District 5 State Representative Marcia Ranglin-Vassell shocked at the loss of a woman she says was her friend from the neighborhood. She added after hearing about the fire this morning, she came to the home to be with her family and friends during this difficult time.
I'm sad. It's too tragic to even imagine, but it's real. And so my heart goes out to her family and to every single person that loves her and to her neighbors.
The woman, whose name hasn't been released yet at this time by police, was in her 90s, according to friends and family at the home this morning. She lived at her Hazel Street home for more than 60 years, raising her kids there.
When I turned around the corner and saw the smoke, and I was shocked. I was shocked. She was a great person,
And at this time, there is still no word on what could have caused this fire. It is still under investigation, but we are told that this home is a total loss. We're live in Providence. Yanni Tregellis, ABC6 News.
Oh, it was so tough, Yanni. Thank you for that. New today at noon, Attleboro police say 2 teenagers were hit by a car this morning, but they are expected to be okay. Police say this happened just after 6:30 this morning at the intersection of County Street and Bushy Street. While the teens were crossing the street there, the 17-year-old male and female both taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. The driver was an 88-year-old man, and police say he'll be cited for failing to yield to pedestrians. That investigation is ongoing. Well, while we dealt with some rain this morning, as we take a live look outside right now on this lunch hour, you do see some clouds still out there, but I think that's the sun trying to peek through, Chelsea, as things start to dry out a bit today, heading into the weekend. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Casey. Getting brighter and brighter here in Providence, and that'll be the case from areas gradually west, pushing towards the east over the course of the afternoon. Many spots on average picked up 1 to 2 inches of rain, some higher totals in some spots through southeastern Mass. At this point, though, we're drying out. Those temperatures are sitting in the mid-60s. Now, that's where we started the day temperature-wise, in the mid-60s range. I will gain another few degrees into this afternoon, ending up around 70 degrees. 65 is around the average high for this time of year, so we're going to end up above average once again, even after such a dreary start. Still some lingering rain out towards the Cape Cod Canal and continuing to push off to the east as that front makes its final push through southern New England. Many of us, especially across Rhode Island and west of Rhode Island through Connecticut, seeing much brighter conditions. It's going to take just a little bit longer for the clearing and drying to take place the farther east you go. For us in the Providence area, you end up with a mix of sun and clouds for the afternoon. Again, temperatures come up around 70 degrees. We head through tonight and we're going to clear out. We're going to cool down. It's going to be a cool, comfy start to the day tomorrow, down to the 40s to start the day. And tomorrow looks really nice. I'll have much more on your weekend forecast in just a few minutes. Casey?
All right, we'll look forward to that. We'll check back in. Thank you, Chelsea. Appreciate that. It is your voice, your vote. The race for governor heating up less than 4 weeks until Election Day. And last night, Governor McKee and challenger Ashley Kalis going head-to-head once again in a debate at Rhode Island College, locking in on some of the biggest issues Rhode Islanders are facing. They clashed on topics like education, infrastructure, and also those gantries, those truck tolls, a hot topic in the Ocean State over the past month after a federal judge ruled it unconstitutional to toll only truck drivers on 95.
He's going to tax or toll cars, and if he's not, I think that he needs to take down the gantries. I would say you're going to appeal it, something that was unconstitutional. On what basis? On what basis?
I don't think either one of us is an attorney. I will base that on what the attorneys are telling us.
Do you know which clauses of the Constitution it was?
Right now, we will appeal. We are going to keep that program going because that infrastructure is
with all due respect, you're the governor. If you're appealing it, you should know on what basis you're appealing an unconstitutional law.
Well, while the truck tolls took center stage last night, the governor and Ashley Kalis also went toe-to-toe on some of the other major issues in the state. That election, the general election coming up on November 8th. Meanwhile, Governor McKee calling for action as manpower problems continue to plague RIPTA. In a letter sent to the transportation agency, Governor McKee saying the current situation is unacceptable and he has serious concerns regarding the agency's ability to deliver on promises to address the Providence School District needs. The governor now exploring the transfer of school transportation services to a private provider. This after several more routes were canceled on Thursday and again this morning, causing students to find alternative transportation to school. The governor's comments again, look at this, coming as RIPTA faced more cancellations on Providence school routes today. The trips that you see on your screen here did not run this morning. Students who rely on those trips instead have to take any bus to Kennedy Plaza and then transfer there to get to school. The impacted schools today, Central, Classical, Mount Pleasant, and Alvarez high schools. Still to come today on ABC6 News at noon, possible high-profile testimony. The House January 6 committee voting unanimously to subpoena former President Trump, what it means in their ongoing inquiry. And another tragedy, an off-duty police officer and 4 others killed by a teen who opened fire along a walking trail in North Carolina. We've got the latest details on that case coming up. Back with national headlines now. Police say 5 people were shot dead, including an off-duty police officer, after a teenage gunman opened fire near a nature trail not far from downtown Raleigh, North Carolina. Several other victims were also rushed to the hospital. ABC's Rena Roy, the latest now.
A massive crime scene in Raleigh, North Carolina. Investigators gathering evidence near a popular walking trail after police say a gunman opened fire Thursday evening, killing 5 people.
We have an officer down. We have an officer down.
Among the dead, a 16-year-old boy and an off-duty police officer. A second officer rushed to the hospital has since been released. Another victim still there in critical condition.
There are several families in our community waking up this morning without their loved ones. We grieve for them today. Our prayers are also with those who are injured.
Raleigh police urging people nearby to stay inside as the violence unfolded.
I want again, as I did last night, thank the swift, coordinated, and courageous law enforcement response. It was a complex mission in a short amount of time.
Law enforcement sources telling ABC affiliate WTVD authorities cornered the gunman in a barn several hours after the shooting. They later took him into custody with life-threatening injuries. It's unclear if his wounds were self-inflicted. He's now in critical condition. A law enforcement official tells ABC News the suspect is just 15 years old.
While we are grieving, Raleigh remains a resilient community, and we will get through this together. Please keep the families and loved ones of our victims in your hearts and in your prayers.
Right now, it's unclear why the gunman unleashed this violence. Police are working on figuring out a motive, saying they will issue an initial report in 5 days. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
Also today, the Parkland school shooter Nicholas Cruz learning his fate more than 4 years after committing one of the deadliest school shootings in U.S. history. On Thursday, the jury recommended Cruz serve a life sentence without the possibility of parole. His defense argued that Cruz suffered throughout his life from mental disorders and developmental delays. And the January 6th committee yesterday providing new details on how early former President Trump was planning to declare fraud in the 2020 election, providing never-before-seen video of congressional leaders working together from their safe location on January 6th. ABC's Justin Finch has more on that.
Never-before-seen documentary footage aired at Thursday's Select Committee hearing, taking Americans inside the safe location outside the Capitol where congressional leaders fled at the height of the January 6th riots.
We have got to finish the proceedings, or else they would have had the complete victory.
The video, shot by House Speaker Nancy Pelosi's daughter for an HBO documentary, shows the bipartisan group of congressional leaders calling Trump administration cabinet officials and state leaders in an effort to certify the 2020 election results as quickly as possible.
There has to be some way we can maintain the sense that people have that there's some security or some confidence that government can function.
The revealing new video underscoring the House Select Committee's argument that American democracy came dangerously close to falling during the insurrection. The committee maintains former President Trump was the driving force behind that. The panel presenting evidence it says shows Trump consulting with advisor Tom Fitton on a plan to undermine the election results months before the election.
The draft statement, which was sent on October 31st, declares, "We had an election today, and I won."
After months of building its case against Trump, the panel voting unanimously to subpoena him.
In the opinion of the chair, the ayes have it.
The former president denouncing the investigation as a witch hunt, and legal experts are doubting he will willingly cooperate.
When you're under investigation in this many different investigations, any lawyer will say there's no way you can begin to answer questions.
ABC News has learned the Select Committee subpoena for Trump has not yet been formally issued, but could come down in just a matter of days. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
And still to come today on ABC6 News at noon, we check in with Chelsea, who has a full look at your forecast. That's coming up next.
And now, your ABC6 Storm Tracker weather with meteorologist Chelsea Priest.
Well, we are looking at drying conditions across southern New England as we head into the afternoon hours. There is still some rain falling out towards the Cape, out over the canal right now, but all of that is continuing to push towards the east and northeast, and we're getting rid of that heavy rain that we had early this morning. Many spots picking up on average between 1 and 2 inches of rain, so a good soaking rain came down overnight. There were some spots that picked up even more than 2 inches, but at this point we're drying out, and it looks like a good portion of our weekend does stay dry. Beautiful shot over Providence right now. We're getting the sunshine coming through. You're getting those great fall colors. Should be an absolutely perfect weekend to get outside and do all of the fall things that you want to do as we head through this middle portion of October. Everything seems to be going on this time of year. Temps are in the mid 60s right now. 66 in Providence, 62 in Smithfield, 68 in Westerly, 63 for Block Island, 67 in New Bedford. Running maybe a degree or two cooler than yesterday, but still coming up above average. The average high is 64 degrees, and we started the day in the mid 60s range with that rain falling. We're going to climb to about 70 degrees this afternoon. Then overnight, with clear conditions, it'll be back to reality. That average low is 46 degrees, and we'll be much closer to that for Saturday morning. I have overnight lows dipping down to the mid to upper 40s. Breeze is coming in right now, kind of a variable direction. Most of Rhode Island, where we're getting into some sunshine, we now have a breeze coming in from the west-northwest. Now, where the rain and the clouds still are, the breeze is still coming in a bit stronger out of the south-southwest. 10 to 15 mile per hour sustained winds and some gusts in the 20 to 25 mile per hour range, really focusing in on far eastern Mass. Again, this line is pushing through. The last of the rain is going to continue to push offshore, and all of us get into drier, brighter conditions as the afternoon progresses. Much wider view shows you basically a giant area of high pressure that's coming into control, and that's going to leave us with a lot of clear conditions for tonight, sunshine for tomorrow, and most of Sunday looks really nice as well. Hour by hour, what we're looking at, any clouds and rain pushes offshore for your Friday evening plans. We're in good shape. We'll have dried out. The ground should be dry. Temperatures this evening should still be in the upper 50s range. Overnight with partly clear conditions, we will dip down into the 40s for the start of the day tomorrow. Full sunshine all day tomorrow gets us back into the upper 60s range, so still slightly warmer than average. Clear overnight into Sunday morning. Sunday starts with plenty of sunshine. You may get a few passing clouds in the afternoon hours, but all in all, it looks like we have a dry few days ahead of us. We're looking at low 70s this afternoon, gradual clearing, a brighter afternoon for all of us with that wind gradually shifting. We're mainly clear overnight with a very light breeze out of the northwest, a cooler, drier wind direction. Overnight lows by tomorrow morning down to the 40s. So it'll be a chilly start to our Saturday, but Saturday looks really nice. You'll see sunshine and temperatures making it into the upper 60s range, which is again about 5 degrees above average for this time of year. Sunday looks good too. Upper 60s expected on Monday. A few showers in our forecast, and that may linger into Tuesday as that system clears out. It gets breezy and it's much cooler towards the middle portion of next week. I have highs down into the mid 50s.
Oh, all right. Not a bad weekend, Chels. Thank you for that. Still to come today at noon, millions of retirees on Social Security set to get a raise in their monthly check, which you can expect coming up after the break. And a popular medication used to control hyperactivity in kids is getting hard to find, while the FDA is sounding the alarm on Adderall. Welcome back. Time now for a focus on your health. The FDA announcing a shortage of the attention deficit hyperactivity drug Adderall. According to the agency's drug shortages page, back orders for several generic forms of the drug are expected to last into March. And the FDA says Teva Pharmaceuticals is having ongoing intermittent manufacturing delays. Other manufacturers are producing, but they don't have enough supply to continue to meet U.S. market demand. A check of consumer news today and how it impacts your wallet. Some good news today for retirees who rely on Social Security. The annual cost of living adjustment being raised by 8.7% due to skyrocketing inflation. That increase translates into $150 more a month. It's the largest increase since 1981. Roughly 70 million people depend on Social Security. Whether the adjustment will be enough to keep up with rising inflation, well, that remains to be seen. And you might have to pay more to see the doctor next year. And yes, inflation is to blame for this. Experts say most employees can expect to pay more for health insurance next year and out-of-pocket expenses as well for those visits. On top of that, hospitals and other medical providers are feeling the pricing pressures as well. Their costs of labor, specifically for nurses and supplies, have increased sharply. And new numbers showing mortgage rates have hit a 20-year high. According to Freddie Mac, the average rate for a 30-year fixed-rate mortgage was just under 7%. That's the highest average since April of 2002 and more than double what the rate was just a year ago. Still to come today on ABC6 News at noon. We get one final check of the forecast from Chelsea as we head into the weekend. Stay with us. Oh boy, how about a cringeworthy new promotional product here? The adult humor fill-in-the-blank party game Cards Against Humanity out with Clamonaise. You guessed it, clam-flavored mayonnaise. It's the latest in a long line of similarly strange promotional stunts by the game. You can actually get this at Target right now for $9.99. Cards Against Humanity says every jar comes with 30 all-new game cards. There's also a mystery prize buried in the mayo. Fans can win actual pearls, Chels, clam-themed vacations, and even a car. According to the company, it's already a hit. Target's running low, apparently, on stock in some stores and online. You've played Cards Against Humanity, right?
I have, but I'm disgusted by this story, Casey.
Imagine digging in there to see what they hit in there.
No,
yeah, you know?
no.
Not you.
Casey wouldn't tell me what the last story was.
I wanted the raw reaction.
And I want to go. Yeah, no, that's disgusting. Sorry.
That's exactly what I was looking for. Perfect.
Well, you got it. We are looking at some sunshine outside gradually as the day goes on. Temps in the low 70s. Still a bit breezy, still some rain out towards the Cape, but all of us are gradually clearing. The weekend looks good. Sunshine with temperatures in the upper 60s. The mornings will be a bit cooler, but seasonable. A few showers into the early part of next week.
So you don't want me to run to Target and get that? We can come
absolutely
up.
not.
No, game night this weekend?
No.
All right, you're
I'm out.
I think many people would be too. Thanks for watching today, folks. The news continues first at 4. Have a great weekend.